Josh from Pilates Guy, and today I'm just going to really quickly talk to you about why Pilates is probably the choice of exercise if you're carrying any injuries. So from my own experience, I've had a couple of surgeries from rugby. I've had my back pain, where if you're watching this, you quite possibly know my story about how Pilates helped me come back to playing sport and lifting weights from not being able to do that in my late 20s for about 4 or even 5 years. So it really helps with actually recovering things like back pain. But I'm talking more kind of like specific injuries and how Pilates can really help you recover and also just keep you active if you have got any injuries. I'll give you an example of my most recent injury, which was January 2020, where I ruptured my biceps tendon. So I snapped my bicep, basically clean off my forearm, had it repaired at the end of January 2020. So it was a rugby injury. And basically they would normally tell you not to go and work or drive or do anything for about 6 weeks. But after 2 weeks and my cast came off, I went back to work instructing Pilates. Obviously, the more intense exercises I wasn't really doing or demonstrating for a while, but because of the nature of Pilates, which I'll get into shortly, it enabled me to get my arm moving through good ranges of motion without overloading and causing damage to the surgery that had been done. So it really helped me come back a lot quicker and stronger than potentially I could have from that injury, back to the point where now it's pretty much normal as it was before it snapped off. So that was a nice one. So Pilates really helped with that because of those kind of movements, control and stuff like that. So that kind of gets me into why Pilates is specifically quite good for injuries. So first off, it's actually designed to correct, realign, rebalance the body and improve muscular function. So all of the exercises are specifically designed to almost correct the body. It's corrective exercise, and that's what it was designed for by Joseph Pilates, the boxer, and he did multiple sports. He's a professional boxer, gymnast, wrestler, all sorts of stuff. But he created this to recover his body from some issues he had as a younger man, and he basically came back from that. And then excelled in many sports. So this is what he actually designed it for. Some of the main principles and the way that Pilates actually functionally works, if you don't know already, is that it's completely controlled, actually quite slow exercise on the most part. So you have total control the whole time. Okay, so there's not really a dynamic movement as such where you're going to lose control. Certainly not in the style of Pilates that I instruct. And control is one of the principles as well, because you do everything with deliberate, precise control. So you're very unlikely to injure yourself. You can rest whenever you want to. So if you do find something that's starting to get a bit uncomfortable, you simply just come out of the exercise and rest, set yourself up and go again. So you've got complete control there about when you rest, when you ease off. If you know you're carrying an injury, you might want to take it a little bit easier. Every session has multiple levels of the exercise to choose from, starting from quite low level, especially if we're aware of injuries or things that people are struggling with in the group. And we build up the levels slowly to higher and higher levels of intensity and loading. And you choose how far you go. It's completely in your hands how far you push it. You can tentatively try the higher levels, and if it isn't feeling quite right, you can bring it back down. Okay, so that's another reason that it would work well for you, is that you choose how far you go. Physios actually use Pilates-based exercises for their clients. So most physios and other therapists as well, your chiropractors, osteopaths, people like that, will recommend Pilates-based exercises without even necessarily telling you it's Pilates-based to help your body recover. Things like the shoulder bridge is very commonly used. One leg balance work is very commonly used. So these are exercises that we would do that physios actually recommend and can help you recover as well. With Pilates, most exercises, we've got modifications, workarounds, and sometimes things like blocks and bands that can help you work around an injury. So there's always a workaround, a good one. I've got a few videos on my channel you might have seen already. There's working around wrist pain, for example. Some people have wrist injuries. There are workarounds that can help you carry on with exercises that would otherwise put a lot of pressure on the wrist. So there's almost always a workaround. The other thing to consider would be that if you do have an injury that prevents you doing any standing work, you can have a session that's completely designed to be on the mat, on the floor. So you're not putting lots of pressure on ankles or knees or hips if you've got anything going on there. Another thing worth noting is that Pilates, it consists of strengthening exercises. So if you normally go to the gym or work out quite hard or do any kind of training, Pilates is very much about strengthening. There is some stretching, and a lot of people think, oh, you know, it's a lot of stretching. There's not actually that much stretching in Pilates. It's very much strengthening, improving mobility, whole body workout. You know, we do push-ups, planks, you know, all these sorts of exercises people don't realize are in Pilates. So it is a kind of very much a strengthening, mobilizing exercise methodology. If you do have any kind of major injuries or anything like that, it's very important you do get signed off from a doctor you can actually exercise. They might need a bit more information, but you do want to know that you're actually okay to get moving. And just specifically, if you've got a particular injury that shouldn't be loaded, we wouldn't be loading it. But really importantly as well, speak to your instructor, make sure they're fully aware of any injury that you've got so that they can give you the necessary modifications and adaptations to manage that injury. That's really, really important. And if you've got a particularly serious injury that you're trying to recover from, it would probably be a very good idea to work one-to-one, because in a group exercise environment, it's more difficult for that instructor to give you very specific attention all the way through, because a lot of people will have injuries and things like that they're struggling with. So we have to spread our attention. So if you are trying to recover from injury, I'd recommend having a one-to-one series of training with a Pilates instructor to help you recover, to make sure you don't do further damage, and to make sure you get that very specific one-to-one attention that you need to help you come back from your injury. So hopefully that's been helpful. If you're watching this and you've not done Pilates before and you have got an injury and you want more information, or if you just generally want a bit more information, please give me a shout. It's russ@pilatesguy.co.uk. That is IUSS in Russ. And it's www.pilatesguy.co.uk if you wanted to go to the website. But hopefully that's useful. Thank you very much for watching the video, and hopefully speak to you again soon.